is President Biden. He's so old. When he was born, the Dead Sea was just sick. He's so old. When he was in school, history class hadn't been invented. He's so old, his memory's in black and white. But seriously, the president is 80 years old. And if Sleepy Joe decides to run for re-election and he wins, he would be 86 by the end of his second term. In a recent ABC interview, the president was asked if he has concerns with his age. Watch.
Let me ask you about a conversation that people are having at home. Both your supporters and your critics, they know that if you're reelected, you would be 82 when you're sworn in. You would be 86 at the end of your term. Is your age part of your own calculation into whether to run again?
No, but it's legitimate for people to raise issues about my age. It's totally legitimate to do that. And the only thing I can say is watch me.
Yeah, watch me stumble and fumble and mumble and fall upstairs and shake hands with the dead. Nikki Haley recently proposed to all politicians and those seeking high office over the age of 75 should undergo a competency test. Why stop there? In a Fox News poll, 77% of respondents agree with her. Would the president pass this test? The panel is back. Jason Rantz, Juan Williams, Hannah Cox. Hannah, what do you say? Should he take it? Would he pass?
I don't think he'd pass, and I don't think that we should continue to allow this to go on in our system. I like her idea for a competency test, but I also just think we need to have basic age limits. I've been saying this for a long time. We have age limits on the front end. You can't run until you're 25 or older for some offices. I don't understand why we can't put that same cap later in life. We need people who are actually going to be impacted by their bad ideas and bad policies. What does Biden care if he breaks the economy? He's going to be dead soon. He doesn't have to live with all this inflation. He's already rich. We need people who are actually going to have to live under their own ideas. And I think that the fact that we keep seeing more and more old people running for office and continuing to ask why everybody keeps skewing older, it is a problem with our political system, right? It is a problem where younger people don't want to run. They don't see it as a way to make a meaningful difference. And even when they do, they can't often get the money and special interests together that they need to compete with these people who've been in D.C. forever and ever and ever. So I do think it's indicative of a larger problem in our system.
It is a big problem. I mean, Juan Williams, Dianne Feinstein didn't even know that she was retiring. There was a member of the press like, congratulations, we understand that you're not going. She's like, I'm not going to run again. Where's my yogurt? But yeah, I don't think being of a certain age makes you incompetent. But if you are incompetent and you also happen to be that age, good night, Sally. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming. Are we there yet with President Biden, Juan?
I'm kind of amused because I don't think there's anywhere close to this, but I understand, as he said, it's a legitimate issue for critics. But, you know, gosh, his performance at the State of the Union, he made some of those people who were heckling him look stupid. And I don't think your guy who was mentally incompetent would be able to do that. And I think a guy who was mentally sort of, you know, fading wouldn't have been able to do that 10-hour train ride all the way to get to Kiev and have a historic meeting with the president of Ukraine. And, of course, you know, you look at what happened in the midterms, and again, he looked like he was on top of his game in terms of the outcome for Democrats. So I think it's a legitimate issue to ask about anyone's competence. But I think, you know, what's telling to me is when you ask people in the polls, who else would you have there? They're talking about Bernie Sanders, Kennedy. Bernie Sanders.
No, but don't. That is not a broad swath. That's a bunch of crazy statist pinkos who are.
Well, they're not. He's number two. Sanders is second,
I agree,
behind
he's number
Biden.
He is.
What?
His policies are poo. So. You know, I love you so much, Juan. I love you so much it hurts. Jason, I do agree with something that Juan said. I think anyone who seeks higher office and power, you know, let's go beyond the presidency. Let's have competency and psych tests for anyone who wants to run for Senate or Congress or anything that directly affects my life.
100%. I mean, I think we can all name some people who are currently in office that probably would fail this.
Nancy Pelosi.
I was thinking Mazie Hirono, but I mean, she is at 75 right now. But the one thing I would caution is that the people ultimately should have the say. And so I don't want to disqualify someone based on their results. I want the results to be public. They have every right to run so long as they are otherwise qualified. And, you know, we have all seen candidates who are insane, who are openly insane, and then win. And we get the government that we deserve. And if we're going to put these people into office, we're going to have to live with the consequences. And I know that maybe that's a cynical position. I'm not sure, and it makes me uncomfortable. But that's the truth of the system.
But
and if we don't like that, we can change that.
You wouldn't give the competency test now and say, well, that's it. Here's the giant cane. You're being pulled off stage, Mr. President. You do that during the election cycle so people know, so they have the results. We should have as much information as possible and do it for all of them, regardless of sex or party or background or immutable characteristic. You all get it. And if you all fail, you all suck and goodbye. You don't all suck. You're all wonderful. Jason, Juan, and Hannah, thank you for giving me a beautiful night, one I will always cherish.
Thanks, Kennedy.
There he is. All right, one of the